There's numerous jokes. He called me a calzone with legs. You should start to seriously consider salads. You're gonna turn my car over. You fat.
That was Steve Schirripa, who is our guest on this week's episode of BooksAboutFood.com, the podcast. He joins us to talk about his new book, WillieBoy Eats the World, and shares some great stories about writing, acting, and life in general. Unfortunately, his co-author, Willie Boy, was unable to join us. I'm your host, James Reford. Thanks for joining. You've written books before, so this is a bit of a departure for you.
Oh, it's a big departure. Yeah, absolutely. This is my eighth book. My first one was 2002. Once in a while I pop up with an idea. It's not like I'm constantly writing or working on stuff, but I have this dog. His videos have done over 100 million views, and I thought it'd be fun, and it's been fun. No big money. I didn't do it to monetize anything or monetize the videos. There's none of that. It just was fun, and we got to do a bunch of book signings with my kids and my family, and it's been a nice ride. We're right in the middle of it still, but it's been good. And the other books I've enjoyed. I've had some couple stinkers in there, that were as received as well as I would have liked to, and there's a lot of glitches in the book business.
How was it like working with an illustrator?
Well, I'll tell you, it's the first time I did. Children's book was completely foreign to me, and I'll be honest, I didn't really even do all that much research. I went to a few bookstores to see just the size, and there was a lot of things, a lot I liked, and there was a lot I didn't like. And we met Kurt Parrish, and we talked on the phone. I never met him in person, to be honest. And we told him what I wanted, my ideas. He came back with stuff. He's not a New Yorker, but he nailed all the New York stuff. And there's some very specific New York stuff that I wanted in there that he put together. The colors are beautiful. And it was a back and forth, back and forth. Like any process, any creative process, And I think he did an absolute wonderful job. I was so happy. We had to get Willie right. Willie. His illustration, and then myself. There wasn't that much. He kind of nailed me. A version of me. I think one of them, I only had 4 fingers. We had to fix that, but I think he nailed me. Yeah.
No, the illustrations are fun, and I guess as a New Yorker, I have to agree with you. They seem to really nail the spirit of the city in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because I don't know where he's from. He's not from here. When you're trying to explain stuff, and this is even with writers, and I've done stuff over the years. Years ago, I sold a pilot to ABC, and uh, the girl that was writing it with me, she was wonderful, but she didn't understand. Like everybody live in an apartment building. And I said, no, no, no. It had taken place in Staten Island. And she said, well, there's brownstones. And I'm saying, there's no brownstones in Staten Island. And so sometimes it's hard for people to understand because you see what you see at TV or movies, and it's some kind of version of either beyond beautiful New York City, right? Or the gritty garbage. That New York City. So it's not easy, but he absolutely nailed the festival. We wanted an Italian festival, like kind of a San Gennaro feast. That's kind of what we wanted. Because nowadays a lot of the even the Italian feasts, but all the feasts are very diverse food. You walk down the street. There was a Second Avenue feast up here about a month ago. And it had to be 2 miles long, and there's a little bit of everything there.
I think there was a positive omen for this interview because I got on the Spring Street subway and the lady next to me had a dachshund herself. So I said, okay, things will go okay. So,
Yeah, I like downtown. I lived in Little Italy when I first moved back here. I grew up here in Brooklyn, and then I moved to Vegas for like over 20 years. My wife and kids were born there. Yeah, I lived down there for like season two and season three of The Sopranos. It was a lot of fun. I lived above one of the restaurants my friend had owned, and we spent a lot of time there. I still go down there. I
Yeah,
like the Nico's, my restaurant of choice.
I can imagine. Probably a great way to get in character.
Yeah, well, that's what Jim Gandolfini used to do. He'd tell me before, because Jim was nothing like Tony Soprano, and before the seasons, he would say, "Let's go down to Italy. I got to kind of get back into that world a little bit." And we would go to dinner down there and bounce around and go have a drink at a couple places. And there's still some guys around, So he would do that before the season started. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think on season one, you were on the receiving end of a very well-known food-related jab from Tony,
Season
which
two. Yeah.
was it season two? It was
Yeah.
the salad remark.
Yeah. I came on in season two, uh, and it was yeah. There was numerous jokes. He called me a calzone with legs. You should start to seriously consider salads. You're gonna turn my car over. You fat fuck. Uh, but I was wearing a fat suit. Season two and season three, I wore a fat suit. Season four, I got fat enough on my own. I got to take it off. So, yeah, there was a lot of fat jokes. When I first got the script, I when they told me I had the role, and then I was in Laguna Beach on vacation, and they sent me the whole script, and I read it, and there was all these fat jokes throughout, and I said, I think they might have, maybe they made a mistake. They hired the wrong guy. I said, I'm not that much bigger than Jim in real life. The jokes don't work. And then I honestly questioned it. And then they called me and said, listen, you got to come in a few days early and get fitted for this fat suit. So I never told anybody until after I took it off. Like I never went on any talk shows or interviews and said it. I didn't want people to, get distracted and say, "Oh, there's he's been a fat suit." A lot of people don't know. They'll say to me, "Well, you look great. You lost all that weight." Yeah. Okay.
So how did you and Willie Boy meet?
So we've had growing up. I wasn't a dog person, but then when I met my wife, well, our first dog, we had a golden retriever. We had a couple of, we had a lab, golden retriever. We had a big piece of land in Vegas, an acre of land. And then we had a Dachshund, and we named him Bobby, after Bobby Bacala. And then we had two of them. Carly was named after a friend of mine that died in 9/11, my friend Carl, who I went to kindergarten with. We were very close. Uh, so we had those two. And I was busy running around, working, traveling. So my wife, especially at the beginning, took care of them, and the kids took care of them. They had a yard to run, and then we took care of her parents. One, he was he got very old, and her dad, my father-in-law, couldn't take care of him. So we had three of them. They passed away, 17, 15, 18. And we decided to get a new one, and only one, because in the past the two of them had each other. So we got the one in California. He's a California dog. We brought him home. He's about 6 weeks, and took him to the beach. I think 2 days after. So he is a beach dog, man. This guy just loves the beach. You tell him we're going to the beach. He wants to chase that ball, and not afraid of the water. He doesn't go in, but he gets his feet wet, and that's how we met. I mean, he's very, very, he's much smarter than the other ones we've had. I don't know what it is. I mean, he is so smart that it's almost scary that we have to spell like a toddler. You have a kid, you got to spell things, because he understands so much. So we had, I mean, it's been a lot of fun because I've been much more involved. I was around, when we got him, and we got him right before COVID, so he was with us a lot. So he's very attached, like that kind of thing. And we had a house in California. He traveled. I mean, I don't know how many times he's traveled on a plane. I think he loves it. He just doesn't say a word. My wife puts him in the bag. He doesn't say a word. She'll take him. We'll put him on our lap with the blanket on top, and he's a special dog. Makes a lot of people happy. We started making the videos. That was an accident. I was when I was on Blue Bloods. We used to make videos, the cast, like on Fridays. Hey, watch tonight. Don't forget, tune in. That kind of thing. We all were doing it very, just on our own kind of thing. And I forgot to do mine. I was in California. It was getting late. So I said, come on, we got to do the video. He sits on my lap. I have a bag of popcorn. We're out near the water. And I'm telling my wife, don't forget, blah, 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 whatever, my spiel. And as I'm talking, he sticks his whole head in the bag of popcorn and pulls his head out and chews and then sticks his whole head in the bag and does it again. And we just thought it was the funniest thing because I kept talking to get the video. He stuck his head in the popcorn bag. And we decided to post it, and it got like 1 million views or something very quickly. People just thought it was hilarious. So we said, all right, well, let's feed him a little of this, a little of that. People think I'm feeding this dog. I'm not giving him a whole pizza. I give him a tiny piece of pizza. And so we started making these videos, and the people really responded. Like I said, not to monetize, not to whatever you do on Instagram. I have no idea, but nothing like that. Just for fun. People would say, I look forward to your videos, and you put a smile on my face, and we put music to some of them. That's how the book started. I kind of thought, this guy is kind of getting very popular, and maybe we could write a book. I thought it might be fun. Food, we feed him. I like to eat. We take him to all these restaurants, especially California, but he goes to a lot of restaurants. They let him in. He eats, he behaves himself. He behaves himself more than a lot of human customers, believe me.
Reflection of the parents.
Yeah. So, so that's what we do. We still do it. I think one of them got 16 million views. He was eating a big sandwich. I'm eating one end, he's eating the other as I'm talking. And,
I think I just saw that one, actually.
Yeah. It's, they, like I said, they're just, my wife gets the camera, we do a little song, sometimes it works. For, people like it, We don't overdo it either, Like I said, it's not for money and doing all that. He's a fun dog. He's a smart dog. My wife has taught him their routine every morning. She throws the toys. He knows how to pick out the toys. She says, go get this, go get that, go get this. I mean, it's kind of amazing, Some of the stuff I've seen him do is amazing to me. Like if I wasn't there, I wouldn't believe it, But well, he's brought a lot of fun, joy to our life. We're older, both of us, and, I am anyway. And the kids are, they're married, they're out of the house, and they tell us we would never they would never get away with the stuff Willie gets away with.
Is that true?
Yeah, of course. He's spoiled, Well, he's got his routine, you know what you do with your dogs, and then we complain about it later, right?
Yeah.
My wife carries him to bed every night. Every single night. Picks him up off the couch because he goes to bed at 8. She goes to bed at 9:30, and she picks him up off the couch, and off they go. Yeah, And then we say, oh my God, we complain, whatever it is.
Well, then you complain that he gets you up in the morning.
Yeah, he's on a routine. It's really funny. With my wife, they'll get up at with my wife, she'll get up at 5:30. My wife's a runner, and he'll get up with her, and then they do their routine. She gives him treats, they throw the ball, whatever. But if I'm alone, I wake up at 9 or 9:30, and he stays in bed. He doesn't wake me up. He kind of knows my routine, her routine. This is what we're gonna do. You're gonna eat later. You're gonna stay there. You're gonna let me sleep. Because I go to bed at 2 in the morning. I'm like a mental patient, you know. Unfortunately, I can't go to bed before 2 o'clock, you know.
It's funny you mentioned Blue Bloods, and it's interesting because career-wise, you made an interesting transition from playing a mobster to playing a cop, which is doesn't you don't usually see people do that.
Well, I knew that Sopranos was going to end, right? I mean, we were all afraid of obviously getting killed off the show, you know. Once they killed Big Pussy, one of the main characters in season 2, anything goes, right? So that was always a worry. I mean, everyone jokes about it, but it was a real worry for me and other people. The more they gave you to do on the show, the better chance they're going to kill you off, you know. So but I had the foresight to say, you know what, this is going to go away, you know. I mean, because this is, some people were very naive and they think, okay, man, I'm on the greatest show in TV history. I'll work forever. That's not how it works at all, you know. So I kind of made a conscious effort to try to get out of that while I was doing The Sopranos. I was doing other stuff, and I wrote the books and I was doing other stuff. And the thing that helped me after The Sopranos, I got a job on a show in LA, Secret Life of the American Teenager, with Molly Ringwald and Shailene Woodley. They were the stars. And they sent me over 3 scripts, and I gave them to my daughter, who was a teenager at the time. And I said, what do you think of this? And she read the 3 of them. She said, I think it's good. So I went out to LA on my own dime. And it was on my own dime even after The Sopranos. I did it on The Sopranos. I paid my way for that first season. And I paid my way to go out there, and I put myself up. I did 2 episodes. After that, they must have liked what I did. I played a suburban dad, Leo Boykovich, a very wealthy guy, and it got me out of the mob thing. So I was on that show for 5 years, 110 episodes, and kind of got me out of that. And that was what I wanted to do. It's not easy. Look, I'm not going to play an English professor. You know what I mean? I'm a kind of a blue collar guy, but that was the bridge that really helped me get out of that. And then I kind of a year later, I went right into Blue Bloods, which I was very happy to do. Anything but a mobster. I played a mobster a lot of times. If it's good, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I wouldn't do that, but it's the same well. You go back to the same thing. Hey, I'm going to get you. I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to kill you. I mean, there's very few good mob things have come out, in my opinion, So there was a conscious effort to get out of that. And now I moved into the space. We did a movie. I wrote Nikki Deuce, and it's a young adult book. And it's loosely based on my life growing up in Brooklyn. And I sold it to Nickelodeon. And it took me 7 years. We got it made. And Jim Gandolfini's in it. It's one of his last movies. Michael Imperioli, Vince Curatola, Rita Moreno plays my mother, Tony Sirico. It's a really good movie, I was very proud of it. Very proud that I got it made. It was 9 different scripts, 7 years, and I stayed on it like a dog with a bone, man. I wanted to get that made, and a couple of times we got close, and then it went away, and finally we shot it in Montreal in
My hometown.
2012. Oh yeah, you're from Montreal?
Yeah,
Love it, absolutely love it. One of my
that's a great
favorite
city.
cities. Great city, and we shot it up there. It doubled. There's some streets we double for Brooklyn.
I
It
could see
looks
that.
it
Yeah,
looks similar. Looks similar. Uh, and I was up there for 2 months. I had been there a couple times before, but we loved that. So I got out of that, and then I did a couple Hallmark movies last year, and I enjoyed that very much. And I get offered some mob things that don't interest me. It's just the same old, And so, if something good comes along, I'm fine. But if not, I just turned down something. It's just not what I want to do. So luckily, I got to that place where I could turn something down. Not just for the sake of turning it down, but not something I want to do. So, Conscious Surface Blue Bloods was a wonderful job, a great experience. 9 years. I went in for one episode, maybe two. I did 146, and it was great. And it was a good, you know, uh, down the stretch job. Shooting on the streets of New York. I love that. Yeah, whenever I could do that, that's fun to me. You shoot all over New York City, and so that's kind of what I did, and that's kind of what I'm happy doing with the Willie Boy book. Just continue on. Like nice stuff. Nobody killing, nobody shooting, nobody yelling. I think I killed four. I killed more people on Blue Bloods than I did on Sopranos. You know.
Congratulations, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. They wrote me some great stuff. What I really enjoyed, and what I really enjoyed there was they went deeper than just you're under arrest, that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like on some cop shows, procedurals, that's all you know is them at the precinct, and they went much deeper here with the family, and of course the Sunday dinner, and you knew more. Like I adopted a son at one point, and you know more about my personal life, on Blue Bloods, and I enjoyed that very much, as opposed to, you have the right to remain silent. There was that, but there was a lot of backstory, and they wrote a lot of funny, really well done stuff. The writers on Blue Bloods were just terrific. With Blue Bloods, you knew about the family, you knew that somebody's dating someone, and divorces she's going through, and that kind of stuff. They hit upon a lot of stuff. People getting scammed. I think at some point my aunt got scammed. Then elderly people, a guy was scamming. There was some really well done stuff, some funny stuff. One of the writers, Brian Burns, was very funny. He wrote some really good stuff. He's a Long Island guy, and he wrote me some really good stuff. And Kevin Wade's also a Long Island guy. He was the showrunner. It's a wonderful experience. A lot of great writers on the show. All the actors were great, and it's not easy jumping in a show. They had already been going for 6 seasons, and then you show up, and it takes a while for you to be part of the team.
Yeah, the new guy, like the new kid in school.
You kind of feel that way, but I think that was just me feeling that way. But they were very Tom Selleck and Donnie Wahlberg. They were great. Bridget Monahan, very underrated actress. She was great to work with. I enjoyed that. That was a great experience. And not all of them are. I've done a lot of guest star stuff on shows, and I said, let me get me out of here. You're there 3 days, and you say, let me get out of here. This isn't for me. But then I've had some great experiences. I did a Star Trek years ago. Which one was it? The second with Scott Bakula. I forget which one it was.
Is that Voyager? I'm not a Star Trek guy. Is that
No, I'm not
Voyager?
a Star Trek guy. No, it wasn't Voyager.
Deep Space?
Yeah, no. I don't know which. It was one of them, whatever. But it was fun. We shot it on the Paramount lot, and I played a freedom fighter from the 40s, and they go back in time, and I get into an argument with an alien, and we were there for 2 weeks, and driving trucks and shooting guns on the lot, and that was a lot of fun. And then there's some where you go, like I said, all right, everybody, thank you very much. I'll see you. And so you go into work, and some people you continue to hang out with at work or whatever. Then there's some people you're cordial, then you go your own way.
It's a job, and actors have said that because you appear on screen with somebody, they think you're best friends.
Yeah,
That you
that's
hang
what
out
they said.
afterwards.
And they say, "Oh, she seems so nice," and then you go, "Well, that wasn't my experience." But people see you as they see you.
Well, they expect everybody to be best friends after the show's done.
Yeah, well, that's human nature. I mean, I worked at a hotel in Las Vegas for years. Some people I saw after work go out for a drink, and then some people you just see them at work.
Well,
And
that's where you
you
got your
know,
start, wasn't it?
yeah,
When you got
yeah,
discovered or you got involved in show business?
yeah. I got a job. I moved to Vegas in 1980, and I was working in nightclubs there. I got a job. Paul Anka had a nightclub, so I got a job there. I was very lucky, and kind of worked my way up. Blah blah blah. And I wanted to be a maitre d'. That was kind of my dream, I guess, at the time. And I I got a job at the Riviera Hotel, and they had a comedy club there, and I was running it, and I met a bunch of comics, show business. Never had anything to do with show business. And as the years went on, they said, "Hey, I want to put you in." It was a comic, Bruce Baum. I'd like to put you in. I'm doing a 5-minute video for a TV show on Fox. Regular Fox TV. And I said, okay. And I went to LA and I did this thing, and it was a lot of fun. I read the script for the first time in my life. I had no idea, no aspirations to be an actor. And I kind of got the bug right there. It was weird. It's like, you say a stereotype, but it was like that. And then the person that cast it, there were these little films. There was a show called Comic Strip Live, I think it was. It was on Sunday nights. And she saw me, and I did another one. And then comic put me in his HBO special, played his bodyguard, and things just started like that. I thought it was fun. It became a hobby, and took a few classes in Vegas. A wonderful guy, Ray Favero, was my kind of mentor, and he would sit across from me up in my office. I was an executive. I'd close the door, tell my secretary, don't leave me alone for a while, and that's how I got started. And then I was starting to get some bit parts that came through Vegas, a couple lines, couple lines, couple lines. It was a hobby. I would go to LA, I met an agent, and just as a friend, I'd go to LA, drive in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, get to LA at 10, do a couple of auditions, come home. So I was on it, but not to make a living at it. It was fun to me. I'm a competitive guy. Up for the challenge, I guess, and came to New York for a wedding. He got me to read for The Sopranos, just hoping to get 2 lines. And, they called me. I came back on my own dime. I paid the first year on The Sopranos. It cost me $24,000 to make $22,000. I was living in Vegas and flying myself and putting myself up, and so I got the role. That's I went in, auditioned. I couldn't tell you how many people there. I mean, there was like 100 people there, and I seeing like actors that I recognize, and I'm going, what chance do I have? I mean, I'm green. I'm pretty green. I've done some stuff. I mean, I know how to hit my mark. I know the real basics, but I was pretty green, And I went in there, and I had worked very hard on the audition. They called me the next day and told me I got it. So I flew back and forth that first season. Then they made me a series regular, and they moved my family. HBO moved my family back to New York. My wife was born in Vegas. My kids were born in Vegas. They never lived here. You know.
Really, you don't often hear about people being born in Vegas. It seems like one of those towns where everybody
Yeah.
moves to, a bit like LA.
Well, absolutely. I mean, my wife's 63 years old. So it wasn't that. Well, now it's a lot more common, obviously, but back then it wasn't. And so we packed up and we moved back here, and that's the story. Very ordinary. There's not much, Vegas, they knock stuff down, So they had some great restaurants back in the day. You couldn't get good Italian food, you
Really?
know. When I first moved there, you couldn't get it. There's Italians from a lot of different places. There was Detroit Italians and Chicago Italians and Buffalo Italians and a lot of people from Rochester. So me, New York Italian, and a guy would tell you, "Hey man, you got to try this place. It's great." And I go there and I'm going, "What is this? This isn't what I'm talking about." Everybody got their own thing. And so it took a while till you finally found a couple of good Italian places. But now I believe there's a lot more, and they're in the hotels. But back then, in the hotels, they only had gourmet rooms, really fancy, high-end restaurants, and they were basically for high rollers. But in those days, you could get a comp, and you go in there and eat and drink, and leave a good tip and sign the tab and see you down the road. That still goes on, but not like it used to.
No, everybody's complaining the buffets are too expensive now, and $100 used to be what, 20 or something.
Oh, it used to be even less than that. I mean, at the Riviera, which the buffet was so, but I think it was $15. But you getting the whole point of the buffet was and entertainment, right? So that's what I did. I used to book the entertainment, the hotel. I had, I don't know, over $2 million budget, blah blah blah. The whole idea was the buffet was a loss leader. You charge a good price, you get the people in there. Hopefully, you're getting 500,000 people a night extra that wouldn't come in. You're trying to get them in. They would put the buffet with the show. The show is $29.95 with the buffet. All right, $30. We're going to see a show and we're going to have dinner, right? So they go to the buffet before they, blah blah blah. That was the whole purpose of the buffet. Then Steve Wynn did a high-end one at the Golden Nugget. He was the first guy in the '80s, and it was a great buffet. And that started that, and then the Rio got involved, and Caesars, and blah blah blah, and off you run. I mean, $100 buffet. I mean, how much lobster or shrimp can you eat? I mean, how much could you eat in the buffet?
Oh, exactly. I feel like we're getting way off track, but I'm really enjoying the conversation. But
No.
anyway, I apologize. I feel like we're ignoring Willie Boy. So we had this great book out. Did the story in Willie Boy, did that echo your voyage into the food world, or were you just always into food and just had told the story of Willie Boy, saying that he got you into it?
Yeah, I've always been into. I mean, look at me. Of course, I've always been into food, but I've done. I did a couple of food shows. I did one called Steve Schirripa's Hungry, where I visited a bunch of restaurants around the city here, and we went to Rayo's and just some of Tribeca Grill, and we interviewed chefs, we interviewed restaurant owners. Rayo's gave us Frankie Pellegrino was a friend of mine, and he opened those doors to us and showed us the meatballs and the hospitality. So I did this show. It was called Steve Schirripa's Hungry, which I was very proud of. It was right after The Sopranos. We had this huge party in Little Italy, and that kind of got me into the food thing. Then my first book, I put a couple of recipes for my grandmother and my mother in, and I did a pilot for the Cooking Channel about families, uh, that have restaurants and all work together. I did that. I did another. I always dip my toe in the food stuff. I know a lot of chefs, know a lot of restaurant owners here in the city. I used to go out a lot more. So it was kind of just a natural progression. Willie with the videos, and we're feeding him steak and turkey legs and all these things. And I said, wouldn't it be something if we take Willie to a dog park, he meets some other dog. That's loosely in my head. I said, listen, Willie, at the dog park, he meets a couple of dogs, and they tell him there's more to life than Italian food. There's more. Try new things. It's okay to try new things. And so that was my basis of it. And then, of course, we wanted to hit as many food different. I think New York City is the most diverse food city and the most diverse city in the country. So I wanted to hit upon all that. New York City, you could get any food of any kind. I tend to eat what I eat still, but I've expanded a little bit, And my wife's Mexican American, so I never even heard of Mexican food before I moved to Las Vegas. It wasn't prevalent in New York in the 70s and 80s, at all. So yeah, I think it was just a natural thing, the food. It just came along, and Willie likes to eat, and I like to eat, and like I said, I take him to a lot of restaurants. So that was the idea of it. I know Italian food. I could eat Italian food every day of the week. Unfortunately, I don't. I would be 800 pounds then. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm a big food guy, and also, listen, especially Italians, you eat food when you're happy, you celebrate the wedding, everybody food. You eat when you're sad, the funeral, you go out after the funeral, everybody eats. You eat when you're getting divorced, you eat, you know what I'm saying? It's uh, a big part of, I think, everyone's life, but certainly Italian Americans, it's a big part of their life. Food, you celebrate your friends, let's go out to eat, let's have a couple of drinks. Uh, that's how we do it anyway. You know what I mean? I enjoy going out to eat socially. Some friends. Got my favorite spots. I'm not into trendy places. I could care less about all that crap. I know what's good for me. I want to be treated nice, nice hospitality. I'm not a guy. I'm not waiting online for 2 hours for a bagel. It's beyond my imagination why these people do this. I don't understand. Or wait for a slice of pizza. It's great pizza. I have my spots. I'm not waiting online for pizza. I'm just not doing it. So that's become a thing also. Wait online, wait online. So I don't. I'm not into that.
No,
I like what I like.
no, I think you're right. It has almost become a trendy thing to do. We waited online for this,
Yeah, yeah.
but
And
I'm
then
pretty
it's
sure all those people aren't New Yorkers who do that.
well, they weren't born here because a bagel is a bagel is a bagel. Now, come on, who are we kidding? I mean, I happen to like though the flagels, the flat bagels. I kind of like
Yes.
those. Yeah, I kind of like that. But they're waiting online. I mean, I take my walk. I walk most days, at least 4 miles, and I running around, especially on the weekends. They're out there 11, 12 o'clock waiting online for something. I mean, you worked all week long, and now you want to waste your time online. So I don't know. That's not for me, man. Like I said, I kind of like what I like. The restaurants that I like, I want to be treated well, and I mean that's how I go by. I don't care what everybody else is doing.
Before we go, I have to ask you, you got this wonderful book out. So what's next for you?
I know I wrote a book with Phil Lerman, who's a wonderful guy. This was our third book together. We did one about raising daughters, Big Daddy's Rules. Uh, we did one oral history of the Sopranos. Woke up this morning, was a New York Times bestseller, and we have an idea for a sequel to this one. But I kind of, like I said, I'm not like constantly writing. The books come to me an idea and kind of flesh it out. And we have an idea for this, for Willie, go more of his adventures. Maybe Willie Boy, shows us the world or something. Otherwise, man, that's about it. I'm doing some voiceover podcast, a fiction podcast that I was hired to be a part of. A lot of good people in it, and I'm just taking it easy. I'm up here in Rhode Island. I go back and forth between New York City and a beach town in Rhode Island, and I'm just hanging out, pal. I've been chasing it forever, and just it was never enough for me. Work, 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 work. The next thing, the next thing. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? did the books, personal appearances. We just toured the UK with a live show. Me and Michael Imperioli. We did 14 shows in 10 cities, 27,000 people. We did a big tour there, the two of us telling Sopranos funny behind the scenes stories and clips and slides, and that was wonderful. We did that in February and March. We were over there. So I'm just kind of taking it easy. Something good comes along, I'll do it. And if not, I'm going to be on the beach.
Perfect for Willie
Me
Boy,
and
it sounds
Willie
like.
Boy, me and Willie Boy will be on the beach, and there's some great restaurants here in town. My buddy has one, Longo's. It's the best meatball I ever tasted. It's just absolutely wonderful, you know. So I think that's it. Something good comes, I'll do it. If not, I'll just go to the Yankee games, and that's it. I'm a big Knick fan, big Yankee fan, and
You must be on cloud nine right now.
I've been a long-suffering Knick fan, like a lot of people.
It was food the important part of your life, so it just seemed a natural segue to have Willie Boy's story revolve around food.
You know, Willie, listen, I love this dog like a son. We all love our pets, but I mean, you know, I brought him home with this dog. Like I said, we've had other dogs, but I brought him home when he was literally like a baked potato. He was a little guy, and he's just brought so much joy to us. Seriously, you know, and he's very protective, but he brought so much joy to us, and it became about food because we were making these videos for fun because we're making people happy. Like I said, even with this book, I didn't make a lot of money on the book. I didn't, you know, these other books I've made pretty good advances over the years. Some of them great. You know, my first book was a New York Times bestseller. It came out of nowhere. You know, so then I had a 2-book deal. You know, with Random House and you know the Goomba's Guide to Life. Man, it was number 13 New York Times bestseller. The publisher was stunned because I had asked her, you think we might make the list? She said, no way, not going to happen. And the book exploded, you know, the right timing, right place, right time, you know. And that was involving food. A lot of stuff I've done is about food. A lot of interviews I do in restaurants and stuff like that. And it was a natural progression. Willie, he loves to eat. We're doing these videos. We're making people happy. The littlest things. And so I just did this for fun. Kind of his legacy to immortalize him. He's 7 years old. He's in great shape. And the book was just fun. Now I'm reading to kids. I read to 400 students in Staten Island last week and signed books for them. I'm reading for 50 preschool kids tomorrow. I mean, I'm not doing this for money. You know, I'm not making any money. Just they love him, and that's really why I did it. That's the honest truth. I'm doing a dog rescue. They bought 250 books. I'm going to go up there in Newport, Rhode Island later in the summer. And we did 5 book signings. Willie came to them. Willie did the Today Show. They had a bowl of popcorn in his dressing room before the show, and then a bowl of popcorn when he sat on the couch. Kate Hudson wanted to take a picture with him. We did Kelly Clarkson. We did New York One, and we've done, 5 signings. Willie came to all of them. 400 people sang happy birthday to him in Rhode Island in the theater. It's just really it's just been fun, man. I'm always you always, like I said, you're always chasing. This is how I am. You can't feed the beast. I just chase them. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next movie? Call the agent. I heard they're doing this. I kind of don't want to do that no more. I finally got to a place, and to me, this has just been complete fun. And I don't know if Willie enjoys it as much as I am, but he came to all the book signings and he took pictures with a lot of the people. They came just to see him. and and we did one in Ridgewood, New Jersey. We did Brooklyn, which was fantastic. I think by the end, it was his birthday, and they were singing to him. They brought him a cake like shaped like a bone. I think by then, I think he had it. Like, all right, I had enough of this. I need to go sleep on the couch for 2 days. I've
That's
had
why he's
enough.
not in this interview. He doesn't. He's past all that.
You know, I think that's what he was thinking. Also, uh, I had a house in California for a few years, and they have the wiener dog races.
Okay, I
Now,
think I've seen those.
he's been running on the beach since I can tell you he's a puppy. And so it was in Huntington Beach, 200 wiener dogs and their owners. It's quite a sight to see. So we entered them in the race. And it was, it's on the beach and they have, pens for them. And so my wife Laura, I got Willie here at the starting line. She's at the finish line. And I make sure, I think, he had the ball or whatever, so that she had a treat. And there's like six dogs, and he's there, and boom, like pick up the thing, boom, he wins 2 heats in a row. And I couldn't be prouder. It was like my daughter hit a home run in little league, man. I swear I had the same feeling,
Yeah, he's part of the
and then
family.
we entered him again next year, and there was a dog yapping. One of the Dachshunds, Willie doesn't do that, and I think in the third heat, I mean, he was the fastest dog by far, but the dog was literally annoying him, and I think he just said, "You know what? Screw this, man. I'm out of here." And he just kind of moseyed to my wife, and that was that. Yeah, honestly, I think he just said, "All right, I had enough," because he could have beat them. I was
Yeah.
proud like a peacock, man. It's crazy. I'm telling my wife, I can't believe how happy I am. The dog won. And with the food, what we had last night, I had chicken wings when I watched the game. We made pizza in the pizza oven. My wife's a pizza maker. We out here in Rhode Island, we have an outdoor kitchen, and she made some wings, and Willie shares the wings. He likes salad, hops up on my leg. That's kind of our routine. I have a salad, and he hops up on my leg, and he likes cucumbers, he likes carrots, and there's not much he doesn't eat, but he eats kind of like what we eat. He eats dog food. He eats dog food twice a day, but in between we give him. He eats just food for dogs. They make it. They have a lot of them. He eats the fish, and he loves it. And then during the day, my wife will feed him. I think she's maybe out at the beach with him now, running. And then then he stays on the couch under the covers.
Sounds like
He'll
a great
pop
life.
up. He'll pop up about 4:30 because he eats at 5, and then he'll take a nap after he's done eating, and then I usually eat about 6:30, so he'll pop back up. And I'll share with him whatever it is, steak, a little. I had chicken the night before, eat chicken wings, that kind of stuff.
So it sounds like he doesn't want to do the interviews anymore, but he won't miss a meal.
He will not miss a meal. It wasn't the interviews. We did Australia. I mean, he's not if he's here, but we did Australia Today show, and he was fairly okay. But I think in person he kind of I don't
Overwhelming.
know. I think a little bit. I
Yeah.
think for now a little bit. Maybe we had a crazy week of the Maury Povich show, the Today Show, New York One, uh, Kelly Clarkson, and then all the book signings. We had 400 people at the one in Manhattan. I mean, and I bring the dog out. He's wearing a hood. I bring him out on stage. He's looking at 400 people. I
That's
mean, there was
terrific.
a line around the corner, man. Because when you do a book signing, I've been to them where I've done 500 people, and I've also done where there's 25 people. And when you're sitting there after you've signed the book, it's a little embarrassing to me. My first one, The Sopranos was on, and my storyline got big, and we were doing two a days at Barnes and Noble, and 500 people at each one. It was just crazy. People online, people giving you food, and then the next book, not so much. You know, not so much. So this was great. We had 300 people at every one, and the 400. We had a lot of people came. Yeah, it was a lot of fun because they got to see Willie, and uh, so that was fun. We did a talk at some of them. We had a moderator in Huntington. Michael Imperioli moderated the one in the Strand, and then I had somebody in the theater up here, up in Rhode Island. They have a beautiful theater here from 1926, all remodeled, and you know,
Steve, listen, I could keep talking all day, but I'm sure you've got stuff to do. But I've really enjoyed this conversation. It's been
thank
great.
you, but
Is there anything is there anything about Willie or Willie Boy in the book that we haven't touched on or covered, or that you'd like to put out there?
well, I'm still learning about different foods, so I've got to, there's certain things that I haven't eaten yet in the book, so we gotta do that, and it's also, I'll tell you this, you know, the message of the book is to try new things. It's a kid's book, but it's also kind of a metaphor for an adult. I was 40 years old, tired of my job in Vegas. I pack up and I move my family, and I really gamble. Talk about gambling. And I have this big house on an acre of land, and I have this great job in a hotel, and I know everyone in town, and I could get anything, go any show, anytime, and I take a shot at this. And it's a metaphor to try new things, even for people. You're unhappy with your job, with whatever. It's not too late. Try something new, man. So it's kind of a metaphor. I've had jobs. I just was not happy in them. They were good jobs, and I finally found the one that I liked. I think it's better. It's easy. It's not like, oh, well, you had a lot of money. It's not about that. Try to find happiness. Try new things. Try new experiences.
Yeah,
All of us kind of stay in our thing. It was scary. It was very scary for me to do what I did. And the first thing I did was pay off my house in Las Vegas with the thought of they kill me off or I can't get another acting job. I'll just go back to Vegas and figure it out. But at least I had a house. That's kind of the message.
what I liked about your character in the book, he is happy. Seems like a very happy, content guy, and he's not somebody who has nothing to lose. He's a happy guy, but says, you know what? Let's see what else is out there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think the message is great. Like I said, there's some foods we mentioned, Brazilian and stuff that I'm still not familiar with, but I have expanded my food. I eat Thai food and sushi and, of course, Mexican food. I'll tell you a funny story. When I first meet my wife, I'm in Vegas, and just like I said, Mexican food didn't exist here. I did not know about margaritas or Mexican food. At the time in New York City, there were a lot of Dominican places and Puerto Rican, but not Mexican. I'm talking 1980, 81, 82. I meet my wife. She's living with her mom and dad. I go over there. I don't know why, but I go over the thing and I say, hey, you have a soda? She said, yeah, it's in the refrigerator. So brand new, I open up the refrigerator. I see a big bowl of something. And I close the refrigerator, I get my soda, I go back and I went, you keep dog food in your refrigerator? And she goes, that's refried beans. What's the matter with you? I didn't know what refried beans was, man. Now I can't get enough of refried beans. Uh, but I didn't have any idea about that. kind of food until I met her, and her and her mom were wonderful cooks, and I got to know about Mexican food, and yeah,
It's a great story. It's probably,
yeah, I had no
that could
idea.
have gone really bad if they were insulted by that.
Yeah, they were. I wasn't insulted, but I guess you could be. I had
Yeah,
no
no,
idea. Yeah,
but
I
no,
had
it
no
could
idea.
have gone the wrong way. But that's great. It's a great
Yeah,
story.
yeah. Try new things. Willie Boy is a smart dog. I think Kurt, his personality, which we worked on, you could see it in his face. They hit all that. Willie's personality is that guy in the book. Is that dog in the book. So uh, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And we're not done yet. We're still doing stuff, and it's just been a lot of fun. And dog people are beautiful people. And we did a few uh, meetups in Central Park with people that wanted to interview us, and that was a lot of fun, a real lot of fun. People have, dogs. I don't know if it's the last 20 years, 25 years. Growing up as a kid, people treated their dogs like dogs. Like, they're in the backyard. Okay, he's not coming on the couch. And somewhere along the line, we really need the dogs. And the dogs make us feel good. And they know when you don't feel well or something's bothering you. He'll jump up on your lap. They know. And they're kind of spiritual, honestly. And some of these sites, Instagram sites, a million people, over a million. They interview dog owners and dogs, and it's just, a loyal friend. You know it. That guy's going to be with you, and you know what I mean. Sometimes the dog just wants to sit there watching TV. He's just laying on us. It's just a beautiful time.
No,
Fireplace is on. Yeah, it's really something. So he's brought a lot of joy to our life, and and he's given a lot of joy to a lot of people.
well,
So
clearly 400 people are showing up. That's great.
listen, my Instagram account. I'm not a big social media guy. I had a flip phone up until a year ago, and but we needed social media to promote, the books, and we were touring and stuff like that. And it's because of Willie that I have 400,000 people. It's a
Well,
lot
you
of
seem to
people.
be enjoying the social media account's fun. You seem to be really having a great time with it.
Yeah, because it's all positive stuff. I don't put anything political or nasty. People got enough. The world is insane, man. I mean, you put up a picture of my dog at the baseball game or something, put a little smile on your face. That's all I want to do. I'm not a political guy. I don't want to put anything out there like that, and that's all I'm trying to do. Like I said, uh, my wife handles a lot of social media because I just don't know. I know how to do it. I know how to do it. I know what I want to do. I know how to set all the shot up. I don't know how to post. So that's Yeah, I'm very proud of the book. I'm very proud of it. Very happy. And
Good. Well,
we're now
congratulations on
second
the book.
printing.
It's like
We're
said,
now
it's
second printing, and even that's going to be being a problem. You couldn't get the book for a while on Amazon. Finally, they just restocked. Yeah, that first week we really, put pre-sales and came out of the box, and all the book signings, and we're now second printing, and the book finally, I think you could get it. Took a while.
your book sells out. I guess there's worse problems to have.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I'm not
Yeah,
sweating it.
a fun book. Dare I say it, even charming.
Yeah, it's a fun book, and it's been a fun time doing this, and that's it. And we immortalize my boy Willie.
Well deserved for sure.
Yeah,
Good.
thank you, my. But it's a
Good.
pleasure to talk to you. You take care of yourself.
Likewise, Steve. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Once again, our thanks to Steve Schirripa for taking the time to talk to us about his new book, WillieBoy Eats the World, and for regaling us with some great stories. To see Steve and Willie in action, you can visit them on Instagram at Steve Schirripa Official. And to learn more about Steve's book, you can visit us at booksaboutfood.com. I'm your host, James Reford, and you've been listening to BooksAboutFood.com, the podcast. And until the next time, happy reading.